Hi everybody, this is Kevin and welcome back to another manga review. And today we're going to jump back into Battle Angel Alita, created, written, and drawn by Yukito Kishiro, with the Deluxe Edition, Volume 4. And as you guys know, these are oversized Deluxe Editions, so there's really two volumes in one. We have Volume 7, Panzer Bride, which we're going to get into in this episode. And then next week we're going to take a look at Volume 8, War Chronicle. And I've fallen in love with this series. It's been absolutely terrific. Every volume you get introduced to new characters while you lose old characters. They bite the dust, so to speak. And lots of great martial arts action. There's a lot of religious themes in this series. It's very good. So in the past few issues, Alita got reincarnated by Zalem, essentially. And she's working as what they call attuned. And she's on the hunt to apprehend and possibly even kill Desty Nova for what he did. He killed Dr. Ido several volumes back. Alita's looking for revenge, and she made an agreement with Bigott Eisenberg, the director of the General Inspection Bureau, to be brought back into a new cyborg body to hunt down Desty Nova for their purposes as well as her own. And in the last volume, she was going after the Barjack, which is essentially like a Mad Max syndicate that is constantly attacking the train shipments that are sending goods to Zalem. The Scrapyard sends goods up to Zalem, and the Barjack doesn't like that, so they constantly attack the trains. And Alita, along with Figure 4 and Yorg, and you met another character named Knucklehead, were going after the Barjack, and it was just a whole lot of action. So it starts off right away with Alita saying goodbye to Figure 4. Now, Figure 4 is a human. He's an organic character. You see, he kind of looks like, who'd I say? A Ryu from Street Fighter, I think, is what the reference I made. But he kind of looks like that. He's a normal human character with strong martial art skills and ki. And they say goodbye for now. I hope we see Figure 4 again. And we get introduced to a new Zalemite character named Luke Collins, who's now working for the GIB, the Grand Inspection Bureau. And there's Bigott Eisenberg, who's the director. He's in charge of them all, I guess. And, Luke Collins is working for him now, and she's just a yapper. She doesn't shut up. So she's in this computer here, and this is what Eisenberg was doing before. They go into the computer, and Alita obviously is a cyborg, so, she can communicate through the computer. They can see what Alita sees through the computer, and overall give them help. And they also operate drones and things of that nature. Now, Alita also still has this Damascus blade, which was forged for her by the character Ed in the Motorball arc, and she's still holding on to that. And actually, we've made an 8-year jump now since, the whole Dr. Ido. Dr. Ido was killed by Desty Nova. And after Motorball, there was a 2-year skip, and then now there's been an 8-year skip. So time has passed. Alita hasn't aged. I mean, mentally, maybe she's aged, but not physically. And she's reflecting on the fact of all the characters she met along the ways, from her first villain, Mukako, Zapan. There's Umbra and Ed, Shumira, and Jasugun. And here's the other two Motorball characters. I can't remember their names off the top of my head. There's Yugo, Alita, Figure 4, and then most recently Yorg, and Knucklehead, and of course Dr. Ido. And she's just, these are all the people who've passed her in life. And geez, I mean, half these guys, most of them are dead. I mean, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead, he's dead. I don't know if these guys died. Yugo obviously died. Dr. Ido died. Yorg died. I think Knucklehead died too. So 75% of those characters have died already. I liked all these characters too. So sad. So these assassins show up, and Alita makes quick work of them. And Lou has, these drones like I mentioned who can, help assist Alita. There's one here that they call Gabriel. Like I said, they keep making these religious references. They actually had a passage from Leviticus I think it was in Volume 4. But right before this one ninja dies, a screen actually comes out of its head, and you hear the ominous laugh. Yeah, that's the Desty Nova laugh. And he says, it's been 10 years, because like I said, it was a 2-year time skip, but then 8 years. So now it's been 10 years, 8 months, and 16 days. He knows down to the day, and there he is. And so, like I said before, the Zalemites are trying to track down this Desty Nova. He's living on the Scrapyard now, and we don't quite know why, but he defected from them, and they're looking to get him back, and Alita's looking to get him to bring Dr. Ido back from the dead. And, he's like eating his flan and taunting her, and Alita's pissed. He's like, you bring Ido back to life, and you do it now. And he just disappears. He explodes, really. And then it cuts over here to the Barjack, and this guy shows up, Veneto. And like I said, with the Barjack, they're sort of like these Mad Max characters. You see, this kind of reminds you of, Mad Max Fury Road or whatever. And he wants to challenge Den of the Barjack to a one-on-one duel. This is Den. He's the ruler of the Barjack. And this truck shows up. It's almost like a transformer of this giant katana. And he pulls it out right there. And you can see the stature of these two giant robots, really. It's almost like they're kaiju monsters. And they're ready for their duel. And they just go right at it. And Den slashes his arm and half his face off. And he's, miserable parasite, death to all who align with Zalem. So the Barjack hates Zalem, and they constantly steal all the goods that the Scrapyard produces for themselves. So Alita's got this new motorcycle that she's going across, and, it's just some good action. But honestly, I didn't really care for this Luke character too much. I would have preferred if you had the back and forth of Alita and Eisenberg, but it is what it is. So this guy shows up. He's kind of like this Ravager, like I said, another Mad Max character, just trying to steal everything from these poor townspeople. And this little girl shows up, and she's not messing around, and she's, wants to place a bet to see if she can win. She rolls the dice, and of course she wins. You almost figure she got the dice rigged or something, but this guy's like, I'm going to kill her. And a dog shows up. And you might be thinking, I might remember a girl and a dog from a few volumes back, and you might be right. And Alita shows up and starts firing away, scares them all off, and she says, Fury! And the girl's like, well, who are you? And want me to guess your name too? You're Koyomi. Now, Koyomi was the little girl that was being looked after by Shumira. And you might remember Shumira is Jasugun's sister, younger sister. And this dog here belonged to another character named Murdoch, who had like 3 or 4 other dogs that all fell to Zapan. And the one dog looked after Koyomi. And so it's interesting how they bring these characters back. And she mentions the fact that Shumira has gone away and has 8 kids now, and she's living on her own with Fury here. And it's a cute little part right there that they're still going on. So now we get a new character, this guy with long hair and glasses, and his name is Master Kaos. And you see he's got a transport there that says Radio Kaos. And he goes in there. I think he's blind based on the fact that he's wearing those glasses and he's walking with a cane. But he goes in there, and he's got, this whole sound system, piano, all sorts of instruments. And they mentioned that he has this radio broadcast that he gives people hope. He plays them great music, and he encourages a lot of people to keep going. He gives them purpose. So it just cuts to sort of adventures of Alita and, Koyomi, Fury, and the driver. And they're just going around. They see all this carnage on their way, and they're like, uh-oh, what's going on? They get into like almost a sinkhole, a trap door almost, and they fall in, and they're in the water drowning. And what Alita does is she's a cyborg, so she somehow turns her lungs into gills or whatever, something to that effect, and is able to give Koyomi enough oxygen to breathe. But Alita's lungs have been compromised, so Koyomi's alive and Alita's sort of failing. She's entering a sleep mode, so to speak, because she's a robot. And all these characters, unsavory-looking characters, show up, and they're making all sorts of noises and going after him. And Koyomi pulls out a gun and tries to defend herself, but they're getting overwhelmed by these monsters, really. Until the long-haired guy, Master Kaos, shows up and says, "Step back. The girl is frightened of you." With that, he's able to suspend the monsters and, saves Koyomi and Alita. So, Kaos takes him back to his car, I guess we'll just call it his car, his transport, and brings them all back to life, and is playing music for everyone now, and, it's a beautiful thing. And then, he starts calling Alita Yoko. Who is she? What is she? And everyone's like, what is Yoko? I didn't quite know what he was talking about, but I'm figuring that's going to foreshadow to later on in the book. Now, in the midst of all this, the Barjack is making a barrage here. Den was supposed to be meeting with Kaos, And I guess he's not waiting anymore. And he starts going in and just blowing shit up. And Kaos is falling in love with this Yoko character. And for whatever reason, he thinks Alita resembles Yoko. So he starts working on her. Like we just mentioned a few pages ago, her lungs were compromised. And as he's working on her, Alita is sort of getting memories of Dr. Ido working on her. I guess she can feel that someone's working on her. And she's brought back to life. And she says, Ido? And it's Master Kaos here. And, like we said, he's kind of in love with her. So he starts making out with her. And, I mean, you get this sort of shot here, which is like, I don't know, all manga sort of gets that eventually. But, he wants to wed her now. That's why this whole volume is called The Panzer Bride. So, he puts her on in a dress, and he's like, I want to get married. I don't know, it's kind of random, but I feel like all manga and anime takes a sort of strange turn like this. But what are you going to do? It's all good. So Alita's like thinking, Figure 4 is going to find out and get jealous. I mean, Figure 4 doesn't know. It's so funny. So, like I said, Den and Barjack were supposed to have a meeting with Kaos. And he shows up and he's like a centaur now. I didn't think he was a centaur before, but I guess we just got shots. Because earlier in the book, they looked like he just had 2 legs, but now he's a centaur. And he's talking to Den here, and he mentions the fact that Den is actually his brother. So, I don't know. I don't know if that's possible with him being a human and Barjack being a cyborg. But, all the cyborgs were humans at one point or another. So, Alita's not taking it anymore, and she's like, all right, well, I'm going to have to deal with this. So she goes out there with her gun, ready to fight Den, and you get all this action. Like I said, the whole Mad Max stuff going on. Look at that. Boom, so cool. And he wants him to cease. And once again, he's also calling her Yoko. And he says, I am aware that the tuned circuits that shackled you have been severed. You will now be part of my forces and utilize your power to bring down Zalem instead. Join me, Yoko. So her tune, what he mentions by the tune circuits is because, when Kaos was working on her, he must have taken out her circuits. That's why you haven't seen Lou anymore. She can't communicate anymore because of the fact that, her circuits were rewired or whatever. So he's got this cannon aimed for Zalem now to bring Zalem down. I don't know what Zalem did to these people that they're so upset, but, it is what it is. So Kaos is recovering from his injuries. He's a very frail man, and this is sort of not his bodyguard, but his caretaker, I guess. And they just start driving away, and just all sorts of action going on. Boom, boom. He's got like a spear now. And quite good. So then, Alita's sort of getting the upper hand here. And just look at these pages here. I mean, I've mentioned before that I was apprehensive to check out manga because it's not very colorful. It's always black and white, but I mean, it just looks so cool. Look at that. So what happens here is she's right where Den wants her, ready to get stabbed and die. And all of a sudden you see kaboom, and he's all confused here. And she was swept up, and just in the nick of time, Lou was able to, control the motorcycle thing and figure out where she was and rescues Alita. And meanwhile, Koyomi's been listening to this whole thing, and I kind of glossed over what Den was saying, but what he was saying was how Zalem has, given the false song to the people in the scrapyard, and all the people in the scrapyard constantly work, and slave away, so the people in Zalem can live as the kings they are. And get ready with Lou's help here. She summons this drone with this giant cannon here down to Alita. Just look at that thing. Ready to fire away. She's ready. And fires and shoots half of his arm off. His whole arm. Half his side off. And he's completely defenseless now. There's no way he can defeat her. And he keeps calling her the puppet of Zalem. So Alita's ready to deliver a final blow. And, he's giving this one last speech. All this devastation and stagnation that chokes the earth. All of the hatred and sadness that exists is for the sake of Zalem. Never forget it. Not until the day that you pay the price for stealing our skies from us. And, like I said, Koyomi keeps listening, and, you see the footsteps. And Koyomi and Fury right there, getting right in front of Den there and says, "Don't shoot, Alita." "No, Koyomi, get out of the way. He's right. It's all Zalem's fault. I'm going to follow Den's lead. I'm joining Barjack." And of course, Alita can't shoot now. Just he's remembering. And I actually didn't pick this up, but actually Koyomi was the little girl that Alita rescued in the very beginning in Volume 1 from Mukako. I always thought it was just sort of this wanderer that came into Shumira's hands, or it was Shumira's daughter, but it wasn't. It was adopted by Shumira. So of course Alita can't shoot with a little girl in the way. And he's like, "Welcome to the Barjack Rebellion." And with that, Koyomi leaves. So does Alita. And they leave at a stalemate right there. And back at Radio Kaos here, he wakes up. And, he's wondering what happened to Den. And they mention the fact that actually Desty Nova is Kaos's father here. And they're headed in the direction of his lab. So, on the way here, they're just, what are they saying? "Enough of the stubbornness. You must listen to reason. Your life is not yours alone to waste. You don't have to hit me. Get to work on the transmission equipment you broke so that you can hold a night show as usual." So yeah, he's all depressed now. He doesn't want to go see his father. And she's like, "Oh, you got to do the show and keep everyone happy." And he's all depressed. And so then a bunch of ninjas show up and they snap Yasmin's neck and kidnap Kaos. And they destroy the whole transport here. And Alita sees it and is like, "Oh, what happened to Master Kaos?" And everyone's dead. And they destroyed his transport and all his equipment. And Yasmin, his caretaker, is dead. And another tragic death. And he can't go on. He doesn't want to do the show anymore. And Alita mentions the fact that we need to give Yasmin a proper burial. And all of a sudden, Kaos draws a sword. I mean, just when you think things couldn't get even crazier. And Alita says, "I can practically feel the heat emanating from the sword." And really what happens here, this is a crazy turn, but Kaos reveals himself that he is Den. And, he's one and the same. He half and half. He's half Den, half Kaos. And now he's taking control of Kaos. And it's like, what in God's name is going on? I mean, I love it, but all the twists going on is absolutely crazy. You see the great artwork, the great duel, getting ready for a standoff. She's got the Damascus blade. He's got the katana. And they have a great duel here ready to go down once and for all. And, Alita, once again, there's water that gets summoned. They let me go back a little bit. They showed the little flashback of when, the rain came at the end of Volume 6 with the raining fish. And a flood comes and washes away Kaos, defeats him. And that's it. The end. I won. It's very interesting. And then you got Desty Nova again and these sort of notes. And yeah, very, very interesting. A lot of great twists. A lot of great artwork. The fact that they mentioned Yoko, they call Alita Yoko, it begs the question, who is Yoko? Are we going to find that out? I don't know, but this is a lot of fun. I can't wait to read the rest of it. Like I said, I haven't touched this yet. We're going to read this later on and have the review next week. But you have Volume 8, and then there's Volume 9, and that completes the original Battle Angel Alita series. And then there's Battle Angel Alita Lost Order, which is the sequel series. So it's very good. I highly recommend it. I hope you guys, if you are just checking out this video, to go back and check out the playlist and to go online to Kondosha or KodanshaComics.com and look these up. This is the deluxe edition. They're $30. You can find them online for like $20 though if you look around. And very good. So thanks for watching, everybody, and stay tuned next week for another episode where we review Volume 8. And also during the week, stay tuned for New American Comics, primarily DC Comics, all week. So thanks, everybody. Have a great day.